200 to 40,000. Then I had to figure out a track, and then it was a moonshot. Yeah. You made that sound really hard.
And then, you get this email, which I now, found out is just the stock standard email they send everyone they choose not to pay. It says, you broke rule 3 and 9, which is, you're multi-accounting and you're involved in criminal activity, which both were just completely not true. And yeah, they just confiscate everything, not just even, your balance, your deposits, everything.
Welcome in. It's Behind the Lines, purifying sports betting, winning with SX. I'm Shane Pace here. On today's show, new details in the NBA betting scandal, a call to ban betting ads. We'll talk about some shady sports books and have a guest on talking about his latest issues with at least one particular book, two in fact. And we'll hit the grind with Gosu. But first, Pace, it's been another week. How you doing?
Great, Shane. Good weekend. Really, really good weekend. And the show goes on, my friend. The show goes on.
Yeah, you guys really rolled through the college football slate on Saturday, NFL Sunday, rolled it into Monday night NFL. Looked really good on the tracker.
Yeah, and it's funny. There was a comment that came up on our stream about how someone's individual betting that bets with us is way different than what his stream tracking looks like, and I understand that. But for me, if the stream is doing well, or at least my calls are doing well on the stream, that tends to be how I'm doing, because there's not a lot that goes through betting wise that I don't call to the group.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's awesome to see a great weekend there, and ready to close out this November with 1 week left here. All right. I want to touch on a topic here right off the top, Pace, because this is pretty interesting, and we're recording on Tuesday. Normally we record Monday. Most of our loyal listeners out there will know that it's Monday and it comes out Wednesday, but we're recording on Tuesday this week. And we had breaking news this morning from the New York Times. They have a full investigation out, or a full article kind of detailing the NBA betting scandal investigation just out this morning. And this is after some people were officially charged. And I don't want to spend too much time on it here, Pace, but I think a lot of people out there will want to check this article out. So sharing it here now, and it's pretty crazy what they get into. And so I just want to get down to this, because this is super cool, this web here, and they kind of connect all these people together. And so you got Rozier here in the middle, this guy Jones, Jonte Porter, Chauncey Billups, sort of at the center of this, and it creates this whole web. And when you see CC on something, that means co-conspirator, and some of these people haven't been named yet,
right?
And so there's some really sort of interesting people that are looped into this co-conspirator category here. But some of these people, Pace, are like hardcore criminals. Like, one of these guys served time for a homicide. Another one of these guys, this guy Hennon over here, man, some of the things that he's involved in, bomb making, drug dealing, served time for all sorts of shit. It's crazy. This guy over here, Awade, he's the guy that's allegedly part of the Gambino crime family. You've got it's a whole cast of shady characters, and I just wanted to bring it up and mention it because I came across it this morning and really kind of got sucked into it, and I think a lot of our audience members out there would be fascinated by some of the stuff in this New York Times article. And the only other thing I'll mention here is that Jonte Porter seems to be the guy who caused the whole thing to collapse.
Right.
He's the one that was just doing the stupidest stuff and really got the FBI kind of paying attention to it. And it sounds like he's the one who racked up a ton of gambling debt, who needed to find a way to get out of it, got out of it in the stupidest way possible, and caused the entire thing to collapse. So I just thought I'd bring it in and share that for our audience if they want to go give it a read.
Well, it's super interesting, number one, but number two, it also does speak to the fact that when people are like, why would they do this for this amount of money? Well, they're wrapped up with some some tough guys,
Yeah.
so that could be precisely why, they're doing this. They might not want to be doing it.
I think that's exactly the case, especially with Jonte Porter there. It sounds like he got caught up with some really, really shady people
Right.
that will do some, some dangerous things and harm people. And, they'll be breaking thumbs and maybe a lot more than that.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, anyway, a good article out there for anybody who wants to read more into the NBA betting scandal. Now, another headline pace that kind of sort of plays into this, and maybe Jonte Porter was a victim of it, if we want to go that far. But here in Canada, where sports betting's been legal for a long, long, long time, especially here in the province of Ontario, since the early '90s, you've been able to bet on sports. You would have to make parlays and that kind of thing, but it's been legal for a long, long time. We've got a group of senators who are now calling on the federal government to ban advertising for sports betting. Flat out, ban advertising. So we talked about them banning the use of celebrities and athletes in ads. But these senators, they've issued an open letter to Prime Minister Mark Carney, Senator Percy Down, and Senator Marty Deakin, and they got the support of 40 other senators to completely ban all sports betting advertising, at least on the television broadcasts and on any kind of radio broadcasts. The letter, says basically people of all ages are exposed to this to these ads. So they're talking about the kids there, but everybody's exposed. And now that everybody has basically what they're calling a pocket-sized casino, with their phones on them at all times, they're saying that the advertising just has to end. What do you think about that? I mean, we've talked about the celebrities and maybe that was a good move or not, but banning all ads all the time, I don't know.
Yeah, the thing is like this takeover is insane, right? The betting takeover. The statistics are wild. People are betting way more than they're saving. And the thing is human behavior in general is, number one, extremely interesting, and number two, remarkably irrational, right? You've got scenarios where the masses do things that don't make sense. And if you look back on those times in hindsight, you can literally be like, oh my God, that's so dumb. However, if we had have lived it ourselves, if we didn't, we would have done the same thing, like selling all your stocks in 2009 when it was the single best time in our lifetime to buy. That being a really good example. So like sports betting is cool and fun, and making parlays that are lottery tickets are cool and fun. And the advertising has been a remarkable part of that process. If advertising didn't work at all, nobody would ever do it. But the simple reality of the human brain is that the more that we hear something, whether it isn't correct at all, the more we start to believe it. And media outlets know this. It's why the news companies operate the way that they operate. And it's why advertisers make sure that their message is not received by their target audience once, that it's received over and over and over again. So if you don't believe something, there's a chance that when you hear it over and over again, you start to think that it could be true, and then eventually potentially believe it to be true. If we grew up being told that 1 + 1 = 3, we would believe that, even though that's something that is so notably and obviously factually incorrect. And this is why over the course of time, like science to a degree has changed, where we all had a belief, and if you went against it, it was wrong, and then it's fully debunked, and we all change and we go, okay, this is now the truth, referencing the shape of our flat Earth, of course, with that comment. So, I get it, and people also like. I referenced the 2009 thing. People are betting more than they're saving. People are betting more than they're investing, right? So if you were to take the chunk of time from age 20 to 30, when you gambled every single day or every single weekend on sports, and you took every dollar that you lost and you fast forward and extrapolated all that money invested into the S&P 500 at 65 or 70 years old, you'd be a millionaire, right? Like the money would be shocking that you would have had you have not been gambling on sports. So, some people will say it's just totally ruining, these young males' lives. Now, would they have invested? Would they have held it for that long? No, that's not how human psychology works either. People just end up being like, oh my God, I'm afraid I'm going to lose. I got to pay off my credit card. I'm going to Hawaii. The list goes on and on. However, people feel like something needs to be done. People want to have results, and that's where all this stems from. Do I care about this topic from the standpoint of whether they're successful? Not at all. If there's no more betting advertising, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So to an extent, I probably support it.
Yeah, I just, it's like you let the genie out of the bottle. You're not putting it back in now. You know what I mean? It's out. It's running rampant. That's a fact. Yeah. And I understand you want to put it back in the bottle, but every segment now on whether it's TSN or ESPN or wherever you're watching your sports is sponsored by DraftKings or sponsored by FanDuel. And it's so embedded now into the broadcasts that I just like.
Yeah, you expect it's you're numb to it and you expect it, but this is the issue, Shane. Let's say you're shitting. Let's say you're sitting in the room. You don't bet on sports, and your daughter or your son is a recovering gambling addict, or someone that is gambling too much, and they are. That ad pops on. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right?
That would be. You're right.
So think about a recovering alcoholic where something pops up for like a smooth tasting whiskey. Yeah, it happens, right? And you might turn to that person and be like, can you handle this kind of stuff? But the thing is they have to be in social settings all the time where, or restaurants, whatever, where alcohol is offered, that they have to consistently, say no to it. So part of recovery is accepting the, all of that you have to, have that wall and guard up. You have to be able to fight and be resilient against those things on a constant basis. That's a massive part of recovery. It isn't like recovery is just hiding it all. That's maybe how it starts at first, but eventually you have to get on with your life again. It doesn't matter if the advertising is banned. We will still see other forms of advertising. They will still get this in our faces. Not to mention that most people that are adults, that they're not like, oh, hey, you know what? I'm going to start betting on sports today. There isn't a lot of that out there, right? The masses have already been hit, right?
Yeah.
So they have your contact, they have your address, they can mail you, they can call you, they can email you, right? So is the TV stuff a part of the equation? 100%. Will that stop them from advertising and be in our face? Not even kind of.
No, definitely not for guys like us, Pace, who have signed up for a million different sports books and get all the emails and the phone calls and all that sort of stuff. It'll never. But yeah, maybe we're just numb to it. And I know, anecdotally, a lot of casual sports fans and that kind of thing are sick of the ads. They just got annoyed by the ads. And I think maybe they're past being sick of the ads now. They were sick of the ads a year ago. Now they're just kind of like, yeah, it's just another ad on TV. I think maybe they're numb to it in the opposite way, where it's just the kind of thing that they'll never do it. And it doesn't matter how many times you put the ad in front of them.
Yep. Totally.
Yeah. Anyway, we got a great guest on the show today, and we get into that whole aspect of phone calls and emails and all of that kind of stuff. So why don't we bring him in now? All right. Very excited to welcome to the show an inplayLIVE member, a loyal Behind the Lines listener. Prashan, welcome to the show. It's great to have you on. How are you?
Thanks, Shane. Thanks for having me. How are you guys doing?
Never better.
Doing great.
Never better.
Doing fantastic. So Prashan, we're bringing you on the show here to talk about some book issues, book troubles, some problems encountered along the way. You're based in Ontario, just like I am. So we live in a regulated market. But sometimes we have to go outside the regulated market, depending on what it is that we're after and what we're looking for. But give me a sense of your experience with inplayLIVE, a little synopsis of your betting journey and kind of how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess like I started with inplayLIVE, like many of the members, we saw a Facebook ad of Pacer and telling us you can make money betting sports. And I joined, I think, nearly 4 years ago. I'm not quite up to my 4-year mark, but I think I joined inplayLIVE at a time where, you could really just bet and you could win, because it was very easy at that time. And it also set me up for some really bad habits. But, it was kind of like I started with like $200 and just went to like 40 grand in like 4 months. It was a crazy journey. But then I actually, because of the bad habits, I didn't actually make a lot after that for the next sort of 7 months. And then I finally started listening to Pace's advice about tracking and things like that and doing things properly. And then it was just kind of a bit of a moonshot from there. So that's kind of been my inplayLIVE journey. Yeah.
Love it.
You made that sound really difficult.
What's that?
You made that sound really difficult. Like this was this really stressful journey. It was just like 200 to 40,000. Then I had to figure out a track, and then it was a moonshot. Yeah. You made that sound really hard. Yeah. I
mean, I guess, it was the tracking. It was listening to your primers, and then, just making sure you're on stream as much as possible and just listening to you guys.
Shane, is it that easy?
Is it that? You know what? I would say it wasn't that easy for me. But I do get the fact that, you could you could make a lot of money very quickly, and then find it difficult afterwards.
Right.
Absolutely. In fact, I'm having a bit of a difficult moment right now myself, over the last few weeks and months, trying to really gain traction. So I know that you can hit those snags along the way and really sort of, it's not, the success isn't linear. And we talk about this a lot, right? It doesn't just always go like this. It's up and down and up, but as long as you keep nudging up and to the right, you'll be doing all right over time. But, so a part of the reason we're having you on here, Prashan, though, is because, those troubles, they can come from bad habits, like you said. And sort of finding ways to get rid of them and becoming a better bettor. But a lot of the snags can also be book related. So tell us a little bit about some of the book challenges you've had lately.
Yeah, I'll start with jazz sports. Like I think it was about a year ago, I might have deposited 1 or 2K, ended up losing it. And then, your phone starts blowing up from Phil from Jazz Sports.
Jazz calling you specifically, like those guys love to call you out of the blue, like who doesn't love just a random phone call from, a guy trying to get you to bet at their sportsbook.
And it is sometimes a daily phone call that this guy's, calling you, telling you to, deposit. And I remember having a conversation with Phil, and I was like, listen, your spinner is 30 seconds. Your limits are $100. Like, can you improve that? And he's like, yeah, I can get you a 10-second spinner. I can get you $500 limits. I'll give you this deposit. Come in, play. I'm like, great. And I think that was around December last year. So right around college basketball season. I think within maybe like a month or two, kind of, made around 10 or 12K. Then you start to notice that spinner starts to went from 10 seconds to kind of 2 minutes, where it's almost like you can't spin a bet unless it's on a timeout. And if the number changes on a timeout, you're dead. So eventually try and put the withdrawal in. On their site, it says, 2.5K in a week. So you're looking at maybe like, a month and a half to get the money out. And that's when things got a bit more interesting. They said that we've actually classified you as a non-recreational bettor, and you now have 1K withdrawal every 25 business days, which eventuates to about 35 days for every 1K. And the rule they said was that you need to have 50-50 action. Now they've got that listed as a term and condition on their website. And so on their terms, though, it doesn't say anything about live betting. So I bet multiple markets, things like that, but they classified that all as one type of action. Anyway, they did process these 1K withdrawals, every 35 days. And then I logged in, I think like a week ago, and I noticed that like $1,500 is just missing from my balance. So I contact Jazz Sports again. And they're like, well, we realized that you got some bonus bets and you're not a recreational bettor. So we decided to withdraw those winnings from you. So these are bets that were settled 9 months ago that they just randomly decide to take out of your balance. So
these are bonus bets.
Yeah.
They gave you some bonus bets because hey, that's part of how they got you to deposit in the first place. They gave you the bonus bets. You completed the rollover of the bonus bets, which resulted in some winnings.
Yeah, I honestly don't even remember the bonus bets, but I guess I got them.
Yeah, and you're not a recreational bettor, so they said we're taking all the winnings away.
Exactly.
Unbelievable.
So that's kind of what you're having to deal with Jazz Sports, and I think like they've just gone down the very shady sportsbook avenue now. And I think I've actually been lucky that I've been paid most of my winnings. I have heard stories of people just getting their accounts just completely confiscated.
Right, and the thing is with what a lot of people don't understand is I'll post some sort of story about one of the situations that I've been in. And a lot of people will comment like, why would you play there? Or why wouldn't you just play at FanDuel and DraftKings? And I guess the public doesn't totally understand that those options don't exist for us, number one. Number two, a lot of offshore sites are very reputable. And Jazz Sports probably would have been on a list of books that I would have recommended because I had a good experience when I played with them. But yeah, in the last year, they've undergone new management, and if you go look at their reviews now, it's crazy. It's like the flip of a switch, where essentially they've decided to just totally change the way they handle business. And the thing is for a business like that to survive long term, we are the players that end up going there. Who the hell else would, right? Yeah. So they have to learn to manage us in their ecosystem. Yeah, they still limit you, but they give us a bit of a leash and handle things reputably. It isn't like FanDuel where, you get paid that day and for your full balance. I don't mind a weekly withdrawal limit or a monthly withdrawal limit. I've dealt with them for many years. But they've turned the corner in a big way. Now, the whole getting a call thing from, Phil from Jazz Sports or Alex from Skybook. I think many of us have been there. And I want to get into a bigger discussion about those calls when we get the chance. So perhaps Prashan can give us our next story. But I just want to tell everyone, Jazz Sports is like a clear, stay clear, do not bet, top of the list right now. Because if you go look at their reviews, it's just in the last 6 months, specifically, Prashan's story is not isolated. That seems to be what they're doing with everybody.
Yeah, that's good to know because
I'm probably lucky
to tell people to play there, and I'll have to stop doing that because I got paid from them. Again, same kind of thing though that Prashan experienced, but I didn't have anything taken from me.
So they also say, guys, that people go, why would you play there, especially if you're in Ontario? You guys have both played there. Why did you play there?
I mean, at the time, it was really college basketball lines were really attractive there, and they had women's college basketball. So it's like when you speaking
my love language right now.
And you could spend $500 on women's college basketball, which, as you guys probably know, is very lucrative. And when you look at their reviews prior, company's been around for 30 years, it looked reputable. But I think as sports bettors, it is scary that a company can flip on a dime like this, going from very reputable to very unreputable.
Right. Totally. Yeah. Good point. Prashan, you have another story that's similar to this with an offshore book, don't you?
Yeah. So this one was definitely a lot more money. It was with BetPlace. Similar story. You kind of lose a little bit of money. You get invited to a VIP program. And they let me go up to, I think, like 42K before they limited me. And then, you get this email, which I now, found out is just the stock standard email they send everyone they choose not to pay. It says, you broke rule 3 and 9, which is you're multi-accounting and you're involved in criminal activity, which both were just completely not true. And yeah, they just confiscate everything, not just even, your balance, your deposits, everything. It's just all gone. And they're regulated in Anjuan, and that's as sketchy as it gets. So I would definitely recommend, if you're playing on a sportsbook that's regulated in Anjuan, I would stay clear unless you know for certain that they're going to pay like a bookmaker.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's, even bookmaker, like I would if you're going offshore, I would put them at the top of the list for a lot of reasons, not just the payouts. They're a great book to play on. But we've seen some shady stuff happen. We've seen it at Pinnacle. We've seen it at Bookmaker. And there isn't necessarily recourse in these situations. Voids after the fact. The Bookmaker Classic is, they say they list all your bets as pending or like not as accepted. So not in a pending bet section. It says this bet is pending and they'll all be spinning. And we'll watch, like we're watching the games. And if they start going our way, all of them don't accept. And they do that. It seems like they do it once every few weeks. But again, like it doesn't even necessarily bother me. We see it. We send out an SOS to everyone saying, guys, don't play on Bookmaker right now. John did it this weekend saying, guys, Bookmaker's doing that thing right now. And then John took one for the team, right? He just sat there spinning dollar bets until it fixed. And once it fixed, he's like, he called something on Bookmaker. I'm like, I thought we weren't betting on Bookmaker. He's like, no, we're good to go. But yeah, so, that's the risk that you run. But I mean, Ontario's got what, like 90 regulated operators. Why wouldn't you guys just stick with those?
Yeah, there's obviously different limits with those Ontario bookmakers. They do limit very, very quickly. Like there are a few tricks of the trade to try and get those books to last longer. But yeah, you do get clipped very quickly in Ontario too. So, there's always the looking out for other options and other ways to get money down. But I have also tried to stay more in Ontario after these experiences. Not saying I'm completely in Ontario, but I do try to stay a little bit more in Ontario after these experiences.
Well, you're talking to the guy that, I've had this happen a few times, and people always ask me that question. It's like, number one, I don't have a choice, but number two, if I did, I would prefer to play out of Vancouver than in Ontario because of the access to books that I do have here. But yeah, that means that you have to deal with a lot of this stuff, and it helps to have a lawyer. But as Prashan alluded to, depending on where these casinos are licensed, that could lead to not having any recourse at all. So yeah, I want to get into this discussion of someone giving you a phone call. So in my position, I find that I get discovered pretty easily, and people view me as like this sort of key to the castle where it isn't just him coming. He can bring a bunch of people, and they think that is going to be tremendous for their sports book. So I tend to have the same spiel for everybody that does come to me in regards to whether it's me playing on their site or potentially bringing others as well. And they don't care. They always think it's they're going to get us long term. But anyways, yeah, that hasn't necessarily been the case. But I had a guy named, his name is Fred. And if anyone gets a call from a guy named Fred, he's from Panama. His real name I've found out his name is Alfredo. And he's a sales guy that works for a number of different sports books. And what happens as bettors that play on a site like Jazz Sports, whether they close their doors or whether they have the ability to sell off some lists, or they get a guy like Phil from Jazz Sports or Alex from Skybook, where they change jobs and they bring the list with them. Right. So it's very common for me to get emails or calls, and I think probably for you guys too, to an extent, but maybe number one from someone that you haven't heard from before. And it's so random. And it's like, how did you get my number? Or number two, it's the same guy at a new site. Right. And he's brought his list with him. So anyways, this guy, Fred Alfredo, he called me a couple years back, and I was driving, and he's like, look, I'm working for a new site. I want you to give it a try. Anyways, went and played on that site. It was those classic GS live lines, the same ones that Heritage uses, which seems to be the platform for pretty much almost any PPH or bookie site that you're going to use. And I don't think I lost a bet. It was just one of those like 12 bet one and done situations. I ran it up to 12,000 and they paid me out. That owner, the owner of that sports book, I actually messaged me this morning. I'm in contact with regularly. He was at Bet Bash and he runs his own betting service that he's promoting right now as well, separately from any sportsbook related stuff. So anyways, this guy Alfredo now says, "Hey Andrew, I know that that site cut you off, but let's go to the next one." And he introduces me to another one and things go relatively smooth. That process continues over the course of the last couple of years. Anyways, he sets me up with a site with I guess a bookie or PPH site at a site called love23.bet. I look into these guys. They're probably as reputable 30 plus year type PPH service. Lots of people online say, they're super sharp. In fact, a lot of people won't want accounts with them because they know how sharp they are and the operation that they run. So Shane, it's like one of these syndicates, right, that also has, a major, betting operation as well that they get clients through. And anyways, ran them up to 60,000 and Alfredo is gone. He is dust in the wind. So that happened to me with also, and the reason why I'm saying this is just because these people have the ability to contact us, and it's so easy for me to be like, well, Pace, they're not licensed. This is the game you went and played. This is obvious. It's like, yeah, that's true, but there also are reputations in this industry of, who you follow and who you won't follow. And I hope that if anyone hears this that's with Love 23 can right the wrong of what has happened here. And come to terms with it. But the same thing happened to me with a site called Pro Leagues 365. And it's funny because it's the same style of platform. Members get contacted by them and they will contact me saying, "Hey, have you played here?" And not only do I say, yes, I have, and this is my story with Pro Leagues 365, same story, 72,000 US stolen. And in both cases, there were deposits. So I paid up front and they stole the deposits as well.
They took the deposit too. That's just so shady. That's that's just terrible.
Absolutely terrible. But I get them to contact. I get the new contact. I contact them through different phone numbers, different emails. I get them to contact on my behalf. It's funny. They have a spidey sense for knowing when someone hasn't been paid by them because they just go silent to the person that they're trying to approach to get a new account set up. Anyways, I wanted to throw those names out there so that people understand that there's a risk associated with it. But with this whole discussion going on, there is not a day. I just went through my Discord, including a conversation I had right before we started recording this, where someone like Prashan is coming to me saying, "Hey, this is what's going on with me with this sportsbook right now." So one of the ones I got this morning was from 1xBet. And this particular member is being accused of multi-accounting, number one, which he didn't. They stole 20,000 from him at 1xBet. He's gone to a lawyer because they are in Curacao, and the lawyer has submitted a demand letter. They have responded back saying that he was playing with someone in Calgary. So he's in Edmonton. Someone in Calgary was betting multi-accounting with him the whole time, and it's just not true. So they send back this evidence to the lawyers saying, we're not paying this guy because there's a guy in his same province that's making, I guess, the same bets as him. So I just find it hilarious because this whole industry, if we were to open up an account right now and say, "Hey, yep, Phil, yep, Alfredo, yep, Alex, whomever, I got a couple buddies that want to join as well. We jump on a call together every night and we place the bets together." They'd be like, "Oh, that's amazing. Here's his bonus. Here's his code, blah, 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 blah." Right? Let's get them all up and running and rocking and rolling. And then they go, "Hey, you placed the same bets as this guy in Calgary." which can happen to an extent separately of what I'm describing. Like we both bet on the Dodgers, or hey, we both ended up taking the first half over in the, in the Chiefs game. We both like Travis Kelce to go over his yards. Like there isn't just one person betting those things. There's dozens, if not hundreds, if not thousands, right? So they'll use against you the very thing that they wanted in the first place. And more importantly, Shane, is the discussions that we've had relating to the big, beautiful bill, everything that we've talked about, and the amount of players that are looking to move offshore. This is some of the stuff that they can expect. Now, is it worth it? Yes, Prashan, I think you're still going to play on a couple of these sites, even knowing that, right? That's number one. And then number two is, just giving people the awareness that these are the types of things that do happen coming together. So it's like, hey, these are the sites not to play on. That may help them become a little bit more reputable, where they go, hey, maybe someone's listening. They're like, let's just pay out this Prashan guy. It's $1,500. It'll make us look good. They'll tell the story, of him getting paid and go from there. But then also, of course, like running those companies out of business. So, Jazz, I wouldn't be shocked at all if Jazz is gone in the next. BetPlace should be gone soon. Jazz should be gone soon. That's the pattern that I've seen. Whenever this starts happening to players, they just end up filing for bankruptcy, getting sued, whatever the case may be, and they just close up shop. So, yeah. So, Prashan, anything you want to throw in there? Sorry, go ahead.
I think you're 100% right. Like, if a company is stealing $1,500 of wins, it's pretty likely that they're going to be out of business pretty soon, because they are scrapping for cash. And they've obviously gone back 9 months to look at my betting to find a bonus bet that they can take back. That should tell you everything about how dire their financial situation probably is.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, Prashan, we super appreciate you jumping on, telling your story with us. And we hope that we don't have too many more of these stories.
Yeah, exactly.
If we do, we'll be here to tell it.
Yeah, thanks, Pace. Appreciate it. Thanks, Shane.
All right, it is grind time. Gosu in the house joining us now. But John, before we get to your picks in college football and the NFL this week, Pace, you've got an update for us on inplayLIVE and things that are happening within the business. What's new?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest challenges with what we do, and you guys can probably attest to this, Shane, you're balancing a job and a family, and then obviously trying to bet full time at the same time, which when you put two full times together plus a family, there is no full time, right? So one of the biggest challenges is the time constraint associated with betting. I would say people that have come through inplayLIVE and left, we've surveyed them in the past, and the overwhelming response was that they actually really like the product and that they simply just don't have the time. So we've tried to solve that for people and make the entry point into our product just super simple. So if you're someone that wants to learn how to win at betting, if you're someone that wants to get betting advice in real time and take what we're taking with us, we've just simplified it. You join what's called inplayLIVE Lite, and you get to pick one of the days of the week to stream with us. So you can stream with us on Mondays, Tuesdays, or Thursdays. You get a little bit of everything depending on which day you would pick, and it's extremely affordable. So it's $50 for the month, but we have a Black Friday sale that's going on right now that gets down to $36. So it's well under $10 per stream. And you just join us for the Thursdays. You just join us for the Tuesday. You just join us for the Monday, whichever of those days best fits your schedule and your calendar. That way you don't feel like you're paying something that you can't use. That way you feel like you don't have to be on all the time. Thursday night's my night. That's the night I'm watching the NFL with these guys. That's the night I'm betting on hockey. And yeah, there's some NBA and college basketball on too. You lock in for the Thursday night stream. And if you're betting the rest of the week, it might not be with us. But you certainly can plan things better with your family, your spouses, all that kind of stuff. You get a taste of it all. You can take some of those strategies into other days of the week, provided that you do want to bet more full time. And if you're thinking, hey, I like this, I want to do this more, I want to do this with these guys on the weekend, we have our weekend product, which is more expensive. It's $200 for the month, but you can just do Saturdays and Sundays with us. And then, of course, if you want it all, that's where Pro exists, which is exactly as it is today. It is by application now. So you can't just show up and buy pro. You fill out an application form and we get back to you as to whether we think you're a fit. And that protects the community from, the people that are in the Discord and with us outside of the streams, being the kind of people that we want to work with long term. So super easy entry point. $36 a month is a joke and gets you well on your way on your betting path and betting career. And if you are a former member and thinking, geez, finally, like I don't have to do this full time, the solution is here. And we've seen a number of people come back and join us as a result with this new option for people to bet with us.
Wow, I love it, man. That's awesome. I mean, like I'm just thinking back. If I had that option when I first was introduced to inplayLIVE, I might have never joined pro. I might have just picked my days of the week, and I wouldn't be here doing this show with you guys. But that's a different story altogether.
Right.
What a great option for people. I love it. That's fantastic. Pick one night of the week, Monday night. Monday night or Thursday night would definitely be the nights that I would probably choose, being in my scenario right now, especially Thursday night. I think Thursday nights is probably the night. You get a big slate of hockey. Typically, you've got a bunch of NBA games. Usually, college hoops is in full swing right now, and of course, you got an NFL game if that's what you're after. It's love it. Good stuff, man.
Yeah, really excited about it.
Cool. All right. And how else can people learn about it? Pace, is it out there? Like, are you posting it on socials? Is that kind of thing?
That's our product now. If you go to our website, inplaylive.com, that's the only thing you can buy. Sweet. Nothing else exists to buy. So if you want pro, you apply for it and we'll get back to you. But yeah, that's all our product is at this stage.
All right. Cool stuff, man. Exciting times at inplayLIVE. Love it. All right. John, you ready to hit the grind here?
Let's do it.
We'll start with college. Start it off with college, as we always do, because that comes, well, in this week, it kind of comes first. It kind of doesn't, because it's Thanksgiving for all of you Americans, and I'll wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. I love American Thanksgiving. It's almost like, as a Canadian, I get a second Thanksgiving because, we get football in October when we have regular Thanksgiving on a Sunday. You guys do Thanksgiving Thursday, middle of the week. In the past, I've booked it off. I've had to take I've taken that day off traditionally just so I could sit and watch football all day and then feast again. And why not, right? Have some beers, eat some food, and enjoy American Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to you, my man.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. When you listen to this, it'll be, I guess, the day before. I found it funny. I have a buddy who he travels to Europe a lot for work, and he always jokes that sometimes his travel schedule lines up with an American holiday, and he finds that essentially business stops in Europe on American holidays. And so it's like, there's a lot of reasons to be upset with America if you're not in America right now. But one thing you can be thankful for is I think the other places tend to slow down when we have holidays. I know he was in Germany for Labor Day, and he said just all the businesses were closed because all the banks were closed because it was an American holiday and all the American banks were closed. So it's just like like a tangential thing. And I know Europeans already get a lot of time off, so it kind of just makes me much more jealous of that life over there.
I love it. Yeah, it's your holidays kind of do ripple through, and people will tend to celebrate them with you and find ways to take time off of their own jobs. So absolutely love it. All right, let's get to the games though, John. I think we're kicking off here with Ohio Buffalo in college football.
Yeah, we'll start at the bottom and try to go somewhere fun by the end of it. So on the Black Friday, a couple of these games I'm going to be covering for college. So there's a lot of games, like maybe 20 games or something on Black Friday this year. So Buffalo, Ohio, under 44.5. This is going to be a theme. There's going to be a lot of unders here today talking about. There's a lot of weather going across the United States, especially like in the central part of the country, and then down even like to the south, like towards Louisiana and stuff. A lot of really, really high winds. So this game expecting like 17 to 20 mile per hour winds. Already two offenses that really slow things down, run the ball a ton. This is just kind of a nasty game in the MAC. So under 44.5, this total started, I want to say, at like 49, and it's already way down here. So I just could see it closing around like 41.5 or something like that. So when you get these really high win games in college, the quarterbacks are already subpar. They have a really hard time throwing in conditions like that. And then especially when it gets cold, really just running the ball a lot, taking a lot of time between plays. So I really like this Ohio Buffalo under 44.5. I'll probably honestly be on about 10 to 15 unders across the college football slate this week. It's going to be just kind of any game that fits the profile at all. I'll be on the under. So I like this one a lot.
Okay. So this one's high up on your list of unders, though. This
is
like,
it. Yeah, this one in particular. So they're in Buffalo, so we know how Buffalo weather can get this time of the year, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
I'm only about 2 hours away from Buffalo, so believe me, we know about
so
it here.
This could be pretty gnarly. I think that's why the line has come down off so much just in a couple days since it opened. So the next game on Black Friday that I have something on, I have Georgia minus 13. I think that line's moving. So right now 13.5 out there. I would still take that. I would even, I guess, take 14 flat if that's where it is. I do think it's getting on the other side of 14 here. So Georgia's playing Georgia Tech at a neutral site. Obviously last year, I think that game went to like 6 overtimes. Something crazy. So the motivations here are interesting. So obviously this is a rivalry game, though Georgia has dominated it, in recent history. Georgia Tech used to be a very preeminent college football power. If you remember the film Rudy, the Rudy game was against Georgia Tech. So Notre Dame, Georgia Tech was a big rivalry between two powerhouses back in the day. But Georgia here, this is just an outclass game to me. Georgia's just been peaking. Right now, they just played Charlotte last week. It was kind of a joke of a game. I don't think there was hardly any scoring in the second half. They took their foot off the gas. This game is oddly important for where it is in the calendar for Georgia, just because normally they're done with SEC play and typically they're looking ahead to the SEC championship game that they're normally in. This year, they need some help to get in that. So they need either Texas A&M or Alabama to lose to get into the SEC championship game. So both of those teams are favored in their games, although the probability says that one of those teams will lose, if you want to look at it that way, and Georgia will play in that game. But Georgia's currently, I believe they were 4 in the playoff rankings. We won't know the playoff rankings this week until tonight. But they're playing essentially for a bye. So if they don't get into the championship game, and it is A&M and Alabama, then if they really blow the doors off Georgia Tech here, they could probably still get a bye in the first round, depending on some other things. If they don't get a bye, they're probably at least going to get the 5 seed in the playoff, which would mean they play the group of 5 team. So that's what you'd want in the first round. So this game actually does matter. I think they do want to win by margin here. And again, like I said, not guaranteed to be looking ahead to next week for that conference championship game. And Georgia Tech just was in the driver's seat to get to the playoff from the ACC, and then they lost that game last week. And they've been honestly getting lucky to win all these games that they've been winning. I just have to question kind of where that team's at mentally when they were so close to getting into the playoff and they just had it taken away from them. And now they essentially don't have much to play for anymore in this season. So just maybe a down spot for them. And I think they could just get steamrolled here early.
Okay. So you like it as long as you're getting 14 or less.
Yeah, 14 or less. 14 and a half is a little sketchy, but 14 or less. So I make it about 15.
Yeah.
I think
so
Georgia's
2 touchdowns. You want to be on the right side of the 2 touchdowns there.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. And then
right.
before we move on to Saturday, I think we should touch on the Texas A&M Texas game.
Okay.
So I'll just say outright, I make this game a pick. I think Texas A&M's favored by 2.5, 3 right now. So I do like the Texas side. I'm not going to play the Texas side personally, but I do think that's where the value is on the Texas side. So this is just a really important game for a lot of different reasons. The really interesting scenarios, we should probably talk about some of them. But so we skipped over Ole Miss, Mississippi State, obviously Kiffin in limbo where he's going to coach next year. Nobody really knows yet. I think if Ole Miss loses that game and he leaves, I think the committee leaves them out of the playoff, even with 2 losses. So some of these teams losing in these scenarios can help other teams get in. So it's just something to really pay attention to. It's very interesting and how all that's going to work. And then it's also possible that if they win that game, A&M loses and Alabama loses, Ole Miss is in the championship game in the SEC. What if Kiffin leaves? Then they play in the SEC championship game. What if they win that game? Then they're in the playoff without a coach. Like it's just such a bizarre scenario that everybody should be paying attention to. It's one of the weirdest storylines in the history of college football.
That is crazy to think that that's a possibility, that you could be playing in a championship game and be coachless.
Yeah. You just get an interim guy. So pretty wild. But I just wanted to touch on those games on Friday before we went on to Saturday. A lot of interesting stuff on Friday.
Fun on Black Friday. All right. What are we doing on Saturday? Is it LSU?
Yeah. So LSU, first game I've got something on LSU, Oklahoma, taking the under 36.5. This is an incredibly low total, obviously, for college football. But again, this is one I'm expecting about 20-mile-per-hour winds here, at least in Oklahoma on Saturday. I honestly don't know how LSU scores. They were fortunate to have scored. I think they scored 13 points at home against Western Kentucky. It looks like Nussmeier is still not going to play. I don't really blame him. He's going to the draft, and he had like a abdominal tear or whatever wherever he had. So it doesn't make sense to me. I just don't know how LSU scores, and Oklahoma's offense still you just can't trust. I think really points probably come from short fields or turnovers in this game from anywhere. So this under 36.5 with the wind, Oklahoma's safely in the playoff as well. Winning with margin, I don't really know does much for them. I think if they just win their 2 losses with that win over Alabama and all of that, I think they probably get home field in the first round. So for me, it's just a win and get out of here game for them, and just get everybody to stay healthy. But the weather, again, like I said, the weather's really bad for points here. So I like the under 36.5.
Okay. Over to Washington.
Yeah. So also an afternoon game, Oregon going to Washington. This was an interesting one. I don't know how safe Oregon is. I have to think that they're probably pretty safe. Though if they were to lose this game and not look very good, and Vanderbilt or somebody Vandy beats Tennessee and wins very convincingly, I could see, how that would get interesting here, since Oregon doesn't really the best win Oregon has would be against USC. So just not who I think is like barely ranked now. So just really interesting game here, rivalry game. I make this about 5.5. And so we're getting Washington +7 here. I was really hoping a 7.5 would come. I don't think that it is. I think all the sharp money's on Washington in this game. So I really like Washington +7. They also have a coach, and nobody's really talking about it. I think their coach, Jed Fish, is like essentially the front runner to be the Florida job, according to the prediction markets, if you take Lane Kiffin out. So, and nobody's really talking about that. He's a Florida alum. He was there when Spurrier was there back in the early 2000s. So it's just, that's an interesting one to me to watch, but I guess the distraction isn't there potentially. But this line preseason was 10.5. And I just don't really know what Oregon's done to move this line under this number. They've played away from home only 4 times. 2 of them were against Northwestern and Rutgers. So it's just trash cans. Throw that out. They played at Iowa and they played at Penn State. Penn State, we know, isn't as good as we thought that they were. Their season kind of derailed. They needed overtime to beat them. And then they needed a walk-off field goal to beat Iowa. I think Washington is on par with those teams, maybe slightly worse than Iowa, but they've certainly been just as good as Penn State's been this year. So getting a touchdown here on a flat number, I really like +7 with Washington. And it's a theme here. Like I said, I'm staying away from Texas probably. We skipped over the Ohio State-Michigan game. I'll definitely be on Michigan in that game, but probably for very small. There's a lot of reasons for that. I think Ohio State's been practicing for them for over a month now because they haven't played a real football game in about a month and a half. But it's a rivalry game. It's chaos. It's last week. So you got to throw a little coin on that. And then this Washington game, I mean, nobody's talked about Oregon having the hardest schedule of any of these teams in the playoff over the last 2 weeks. They took care of business against USC last week. I think this is a tougher matchup for them. And this is where things get interesting. So I like Washington here.
All right. Well, +7. Washington
+7. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. You got one more for us, Alabama.
Yep, and then we got the Iron Bowl late at night. This is a fun story. So before the season starts, they post all these lines for these games. So I mentioned the Washington line. So I have Washington +10.5 from before the season started. Sometimes most of the time I get a better number than when we get later in the season. Like for instance, I have Michigan plus 6.5 that you can get 10.5 right now. So that number's I got is worse.
Yeah.
But Alabama, Auburn, I have Auburn plus 7 from before the season started. I don't know how the season could have gone worse for this matchup for that number. And somehow I'm ahead. The line is 6.5. Like Auburn's 1-6 in the SEC. Alabama's 6-1, one on the road at Georgia. Just bizarre that this line is somehow shorter than it was. It just shows you how bad of a number that was to start the season that they had posted there. But so I like Auburn plus 6.5 in this game. The Auburn defense, they have one of the highest graded pass rushes in the nation when they can get after the quarterback. Their run defense has really taken a hit or dropped off over the last few weeks. But this Alabama offense is incredibly one-dimensional. They simply cannot run the ball. I don't know what the deal is with them. They're in like the bottom 50 in the nation in offensive line yards on their offensive line, getting no push up front. Totally one-dimensional attack. So I see Auburn getting home to Ty Simpson, really causing pressure, and he's not been good under pressure this season. He just hasn't faced much of it. So I really like this, and I think this game is mucky. And this is another one where it's that final game. It's all these games have a common theme. The one team needs to win to get in, and the other team, you could argue, has nothing to play for except to just ruin that other team's season, right? So, and we see it in college every year. We see it in the NFL. In the NFL, almost every single season, the last week of the season, there's a team that needs to win to get in the playoffs. The other team's done, has nothing to play for, and they lose and they get out they get eliminated. Happens almost every year. Same thing's true in college. So one of these teams is going to win and pull an upset. And I'm taking the points with almost all of them. So I like Auburn plus 6.5 in this one for me.
All right. So hoping for some close games and some low scoring games in college football this week. All right.
That's
what
right.
are we doing in the NFL? It's we got 3 games on Thanksgiving and then a whole weekend of football. What are we looking at here?
Yeah, I mean it's a really good slate this week in the NFL. I mean we have like Packers, Lions, Chiefs, Cowboys. Even the Bengals. Their games are fun because they're so electric. Right?
I heard Burrow's coming back.
Yeah, they were talking about him playing last week. I think it seems like he's going to play this week, which is interesting. So I'm starting off by taking an under in that game, under 52.5. This is a crazy high number for a prime time division game on a short week. Just I honestly I think this I would take anything under like 48.5 in this game. I think this number is way too high. I think it's definitely inflated by the idea that Burrow's coming back. And then obviously anything involving the Bengals defense. But anytime you get 2 teams that play each other 2 times every year and it's outdoors at night and it's cold and it's windy, I just don't see how you can justify having a number this high. So Bengals, Ravens under 52.5 to start the week off.
All right. I like it. Nothing else for the Thursday games though. That just this one.
No, I mean, I think I like having the Packers in a teaser leg, that plus 2.5. So we could talk about like where we could pair them with. But to me, that's a good teaser leg. A lot of people like to tease on Thursday on Thanksgiving. But I don't really like these other games. I'm not going to tease the Ravens in a divisional game. The Bengals are always right there. They're always there in these games at the end with a chance to win. And they just don't tend to pull it off. But yeah. So
okay. What's up next? Niners Browns.
Yeah, Niners Browns under 38.5. This is a pretty low total, but it's the Browns defense at home. The Niners defense is not very good, though they looked okay against Carolina, but that's Carolina on Monday night. But it is Shedeur Sanders. I think Shedeur, he ran into the Vegas Raiders defense, which is a joke, and that team is a joke. And he had a couple long throws that I think padded some stats, but I don't think he otherwise looked very good. And I don't think he's very good in general.
It wasn't a high scoring game either.
No, it was not. And so I think what the Browns, did they have a defensive touchdown, or they had, at least I know they had a short field. I know they got up 14-0 like almost immediately.
Yeah.
And I think I joked on stream, like, will they score again? Like, will the Browns score again? Because it wasn't their offense doing anything. And I think they scored like some garbage at the end of the game, right? Like that fourth quarter had some points in it,
exactly.
That there was nothing going on in that game for a long time. So yeah, this 38.5. Niners defense is obviously missing Fred Warner and Bosa, but Brock Purdy looked terrible in that Monday night game. So I just think this is going to be a grinder. 38.5 under. This is also another game. All these games are bad, windy, bad weather. So yeah,
cold, windy, crappy weather.
Yeah,
it's the theme. Okay, Panthers. You like the Panthers, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, this is the buy low, sell high spot of the year. Everybody is essentially giving Stafford the MVP. They're talking about Aaron Donald's going to come back and win another Super Bowl. Like all these,
I mean, they look incredible.
They do
look like the team to beat.
They do. So this is where I'd throw myself in front of a bus, and I take the Panthers plus 11 at home, outdoors. In the cold and the wind against the Rams, plus 11 this is crazy. I have this number at like 6.5, 7. This line the look ahead line was 7 before the Sunday night and the Monday night games. The line was 7. So just from those two games, all of a sudden this is a 4-point difference. That's ridiculous. So I'm taking the Panthers plus 11 here. You might get 11.5. I really doubt it gets much higher than that. I could never see this number getting to 13. If it does, that's just insane. I'll have to bet it again. But so I took the Panthers plus 11 here. It's just the market is kind of these two teams are being pulled so far just from those last two games. So there's just too much value on this number here to pass up.
Okay. I like it. I think you might be onto something there. And the Panthers have played tough. They can score. They can put up points. That offense can get going.
They're a different team at home, and the Rams are a different team outdoors. Stafford's a different quarterback outdoors. So it's just that's just how it is. So
Okay. Cardinals Bucks.
So I like under 45.5 Cardinals Bucks. The line to me implies that they don't think Baker's playing. So he was in a sling. It looked, I didn't see the actual injury news of like what they thought it was, but it looked like a stinger or something like that to me in his left shoulder. Yeah. So it's his non-throwing shoulder. Yeah. Non-throwing shoulder, but he obviously was in a lot of pain when he was throwing the ball. So even if he goes, I think that their offense is going to be a little muted. That, like I said, the spread implies that he's not playing. This Cardinals offense has not been clicking after they won. I believe they beat the Cowboys, right? Jacoby Brissett. So this play action run game that they're doing is also very slow. And their defense has not been playing well either, but 45.5 outdoors. This is another game with wind. I think it's actually supposed to be really hot. It's supposed to be like 80 degrees Fahrenheit in this game. And the game we'll talk about next, I think it's supposed to be like 20 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's like one day apart. It's kind of funny. There's obviously in different parts of the country, but it just shows you like the discrepancy of the weather this time of year. But so I like the under 45.5. I could go on for a lot of reasons on this, but pretty simple here. I think why.
All right. Well, round us out with your final under of the slate.
Yeah. So the last one, Monday night, Giants at Patriots under 47. This is supposed to be a really windy, cold game. This is a Vrabel game if I ever seen one. I'm assuming. I guess they haven't said yet, but I would think that Dart's going to be back for this game. I'm not sure.
How do you put Dart back in after what we saw Jameis just do?
I know. Jameis should just be starting somewhere. There's just no reason.
He should be starting with the New York Giants.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I think that there's going to be a lot more running the ball here than what we saw indoors in Detroit. I think these Giants totals are probably a little inflated because of that. And then the Patriots, I think, have actually just played a lot of bad defenses recently, which has caused their totals to become inflated. They just played the Bengals. Before that, they played the Jets, the Bucks, the Falcons. So there's a lot of teams that they were able to score a lot of points against. But I don't think that in this weather, in this condition, I think Monday night primetime game, I think they've got a bye coming up the next week. I think Vrabel game plan here is probably just run the ball, score, and get out of there. So 47 is a lot of points for this matchup. So I'll take my chances with the under there.
All right, there we go. A cold, windy, crappy Thanksgiving weekend across most of the country there. So take advantage of that. Pluses, unders, all of that sort of stuff. And you can bet all of these over at SX. You'll probably get the very best line, at least the best juice over there for sure. And they do have their parlay contest still running. You put together parlays. You don't even have to win. You just have to make them big. And have some fun with it. I'm on the leaderboard there. I think I'm sitting somewhere in the 30s, maybe right at 40 or something like that. But you win some money just by making parlays. So there you go. You don't even have to win them. So get these bets in over at SX if you are betting these. All right, John. Well, a lot of fun. Happy Thanksgiving once again to you, your family, and to all of our audience members out there tuning in from the good old US of A. All right, till next week, John, sports bettors around the world, keep beating those Bucks. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Behind the Lines. Remember to like, download, and subscribe. We are on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcasts. Have a betting story or want to be featured on our podcast? Drop a note in the comments below. And if you want to join in Play Live, use promo code Behind the Lines.